All right, the last area I'm going to talk about is the throws, and as I've been thinking about what I'm going to say about that, I did kind of neglect this with the sprints and middle distance too, but with the throws, a huge part of training is what you do in the weight room. It's definitely not all of it, but it's pretty significant. And that's a part of also sprint and middle distance training in most cases. There's some kind of strength component that's related to that. And I did neglect mentioning that when I talked about those other areas, but I just wanted to mention that here as we get into the throws, that really all areas of track and field utilize weight training. They utilize it differently for sure. It's more specific to the type of training. I think a lot of times with distance runners, a lot of body weight types of strengthening is most effective, but some weight room stuff can be helpful too. For sprints, I really like weight room training because I believe it really helps balance out strength, especially through the core, and that helps athletes be better sprinters, helps them maintain their form better, and also helps them tolerate training better so they don't get injured as quickly. And that's really a lot of the strengthening for distance runners too. For throwers, of course, a big part of their success as a thrower has to do with their strength. So throws training, lifts is a big thing. And really the Olympic lifts, as we call them, are the key for training in the throws. Periodization is important also with throws training. So what most throws coaches do is they set up a periodized weight training program. Same thing as I talked about earlier, training cycles where you change the intensity and the volume. And so with weight training, intensity has to do with the amount of weight, and the volume has to do with how much of it you're going to lift. So how many lifts you do and so forth. So early in the season, you're going to do more volume, less intensity. And as you progress through the season, you're going to do more intensity and less volume. So towards the end of the season, you might be doing 1 to 3 reps of a weight. Earlier in the season, you might be doing more like 4 to 6. And of course, less weight early on, more weight later. And same concept you use in sprint training and distance training too, when it comes to periodization. So back to Olympic lifts, things like squats, hang cleans, the types of lifts where you're lifting the barbell, up above your head, Romanian deadlifts. With the throws, a huge amount of your power is created below the waist. So if you look at the human body, the big muscles are from the waist on down. Your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings. So weight training that works those muscles is a huge part of what you do for the throws. I'll link some stuff up on the website for that, but I think all of you are pretty familiar with what those types of things are. And if you have questions about it, make sure you ask. And then a big part of training for the throws also is throw-specific drills. So weight training, throw-specific drills, and then the last piece is the throws themselves. So in creating a program for throwers, whether it's middle school, high school, or college, you're going to do similar types of things. With middle school, you're probably not going to do a lot of lifting. With high school, more. College, that's a big piece of it. Throw specific drills. when we get into the throws themselves, we probably talk a little bit more about some of these types of things, and I'm not as familiar with them, so I'm going to leave it pretty general. But drills that focus on the explosiveness of the throw. All of the throws really kind of utilize the power position, which is driving your hip first, again, using the lower body strength. That's the key component of all throws. And so drills in which the athlete works on strengthening and positioning into the power position, those can be done with, a lot of times, with modified implements. I've seen everything from, putting a ball on the end of a strap, for hammer throw, just doing a lot of drills with the hammer itself, turns, same thing with weight throw, just drilling the turns. Sometimes those drills can be done with lifting plates, shot puts, and then just medicine ball throw stuff is huge for throws, for the power and the strength and the explosive movements that you need for throws. You want to train that. And then, again, I'm not as familiar with the throw training, but in my mind, you would do it similar to sprints, where some days you would focus more on the technique, and some days you would focus more just on the overall fitness and power and strength. So, maybe on a Monday you would focus mostly on weight room types of things and maybe some drills. On a Tuesday, you might be working on specific technique for a throw, so doing a lot more throw-specific drills and throws. And then on Wednesday, back to the weight room focus, and so forth. A lot of times with throwers, they're going to lift, 3, 4, maybe 5 days a week, and focus on different body parts on different days, and that type of thing. So that's about all I'm going to say about that. And like I said, I'm going to link up a few resources for these also, and then our discussion this week will be more question oriented. I'm just going to ask you to post questions that you might have about training, and then I'll try to interact with those questions as much as I can, and hopefully through those different methods we can learn some things about training.